is a little bit of it's a nice episode for us to do today because we've got an Earl guest.
An Earl guest. An in-person, real-life human being in the studio.
Yeah.
We're very happy about.
Hi, Charlotte.
Hello from Earl.
I love it. You've just been exposed to our weirdness for the last
I used the word
minutes or so.
Earl. I didn't think that was weird. You know, I thought it was normal. Yeah, it's such a rare thing now to be Earl, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm trying to encourage more of our clients to be Earl more, especially with AI, so they can prove you're an actual real person, not a hologram or not pretend.
Oh, this is going to be a good episode.
I think so.
Yes. So, Charlotte, I'm going to try and remember the business name now. And the reason I'm struggling with this business name is because it is named after two of your dogs. Is that right?
Yeah, two of my border terriers. Well, late border terriers.
Late border terriers. Oh, well, the names are very similar to two Daxies that we were working. So then it's not, no, hold on. Right. Harvey and Hugo.
Totally right.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Got it right.
So,
And you're rare to get it right. We get all sorts of H names. So yeah, well done.
yes. I'm in. Charlotte, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I set up Harvey and Hugo, which is a PR business, when I was 25, so a long time ago, 16 years ago now. And it sounds ridiculous to people that don't have much experience with dogs, but I'm hoping your listeners do. But they totally inspired me to set it up. You know, I'd started out my career, I was working for a small PR agency, a small fabulous PR agency. I don't know, I just felt like something was missing in my life. I needed that extra buzz, I definitely had that entrepreneurial spirit within me. Along came Harvey and Hugo. Their little personalities were so different. Harvey was like really sensible, and he kind of inspired the more kind of retained PR, which is how historically PR has always been done. And then Hugo, totally mental, and he inspired my like pay as Hugo services, which was really unique at the time in the world of PR. I had a purpose of making PR services accessible to all, small businesses, solopreneurs, anyone really who just wanted kind of a one-off hit of publicity. Whereas before, and it totally works best this way, it was all about monthly retainers to increase publicity, increase awareness of brand, which does work best. But still, if you can have little hits every so often, it's better than nothing.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's unusual to hear that a dog's inspired you to do PR and not dog training.
I know. No, they specifically told me PR. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So from a PR perspective then, because I remember when I was just a one-man band, and I'm sure you'll relate to this as well, you're kind of thinking, well, I haven't even got, I'm trying to just bring in some cash to pay myself, let alone thinking about branding and all of this bigger picture stuff. So where does PR sit in a solopreneur's world?
Yeah, it's scary because you instantly think I want to do absolutely everything by the book, everything properly. And then it's just so overwhelming because, again, I've been there when I set up my business that you just say, oh, I just can't do it. So you do nothing. But actually, PR is everything. It's not just, sending out a press release, writing a wonderful book, entering some awards. It literally is the way you decide to dress, the way you decide to speak, the way you decide to greet your customers. It literally is how you're perceived by the public, by your target audience, by stakeholders, by the world. And so, it's almost about knowing who you really are. I'd say that's one of the fundamentals, which you'd like to know people do before they set up anyway. But establishing your values and really asking yourself, why am I doing this? What's my purpose? Why does this business exist? And sometimes people can think, we get this quite a lot when people come to me, especially if they're a small business owner. They're just like, well, I just do what I do. I just walk dogs. We have a dog walking business. And I'm just like, you don't just walk dogs. Like people are trusting you with one of their most precious possessions. And, it's so important. So, it's kind of, and also you could do anything. You could do anything in the world. So why are you doing what you're doing? It's answering those questions at the starting point. And then from there, and that's all free to do. It can be a little bit taxing for your brain sometimes because sometimes it just happens and it's all in the subconscious. But really drilling down, asking yourself those questions, your values, why you exist, where you want to be in the future, that's the foundation for creating a strategy and PR plan. And then from there, you can kind of formulate what to do and how to start building a brand.
I love all this.
It all aligns, doesn't it?
It's making me feel a bit tingly.
Oh, is it? Excellent.
Do you know, the more and more we do this podcast, the more it just shows up so often, like the values and the purpose and the vision and mission and all that sort of stuff. Like it's so integral. Like you can't ever, I don't think you can ever reach your true goals without knowing what those things are.
Yeah.
And forming the business off the back of that. And you, who are you? Like, and this is a question that comes up a lot within our coaching programs. It's like, who do you actually want to be, and what do you stand for, and what does that look like? And they're like, I've never ever been asked that question before. I've never actually done the work on it before. And it's really amazing, isn't it? Like how many people haven't?
Yeah, it is. And people see it as fluffy and just a little bit pedantic. And it's just like, well, no, actually it really matters. You have to know yourself. And I believe that about life as well. And then once you know yourself, you can be true to yourself. Things flow a little bit easier, I find. And then also it's not just knowing yourself, it's believing in yourself. And again, it sounds really cheesy, but it's so important, especially if you're going to create a business and if you're going to build a brand. You have to believe that what you're offering really creates value for people. You have to know that the value that you're going to deliver as well, because all the values, your mission, the value you're creating for the clients, that flows into key messaging. And language is so important in PR. And again, it's free to use, defining your own language. We often say to clients at the start of a campaign, which adjectives are important to you, which ones define your brand. Because if you use the same ones consistently, it starts to conjure up images in people's mind and create the perceptions you want. So, again, someone told me once that you spell words and language creates spells. And PR could be seen as creating perceptions in people's mind. And there is no truth in the world. There's just perception.
Oh, it's good. It's good. This is probably going off on a tangent, but kind of picking up from the previous point of like really knowing yourself. All I could think of was, I've totally forgotten her name. She was on Big Brother in the early doors. And like, who is she?
Oh, yes. Nikki.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
And actually, the reason I keep playing that over in my head is, I think that there's two ways of looking at it. There's the positive way of looking at it and going like, well, yeah, who are you? Who is she? Know who you are, know what you stand for, etc. But then also flipping it on that imposter side of going like, well, who is she? And being like really,
who does she think she is?
Yeah, really negative about it and being quite maybe not a very nice person to somebody else, in thinking that, because somebody is brave enough to put themselves out there, like how very dare you?
Yeah.
We often find it's people's biggest concern, especially in the world we live in. They're afraid to put their brand out there because they're afraid of what people will think and afraid of what people will say. And you kind of have to rise above that, because there's always going to be negativity out there. There's always going to be haters gonna hate, It's just like they have to think that this is so true to me. Against where the values come in. And if they're living their life authentically and doing what they believe is the right thing, then, they can just go with it, knowing that they're doing what's right for them. But it is hard to do. I mean, I don't know if you ever see this, or certain guests we have on our podcast, there's really nasty negative comments unnecessarily. It's just that there's people out there that unfortunately do just want to kind of share negativity. But you can't get beat down by that.
And I think it's always looking at what's behind the actual accolade. So if you've got a book or you've got an award, like, what's the meaning behind that thing? It's not the actual award that you're shouting about, it's what it means for people. Like, what impact have you had to be able to receive an award, and how has that affected people positively? And I think once you can kind of almost get your head around that, you can go, I can actually shout about this thing, and I'm doing it for you guys. I'm not doing it for me.
Yeah, it's very British as well. I find sometimes, I can't go for that award, even though inside you want to. In the past I've said it a bit before. I try not to now because I want to set a good example for our clients. Or I can't go on a podcast. What would I say? It's just like, well, I believe it or not, I was really shy when I first set up my business, but I was like, I wanted to run a business so badly. I've got to overcome this. So you just start doing things, little things, small presentations, even as simple as putting your hand up at an event to say your opinion, your comment, say your business name, and slowly just build from there. And it does slowly increase your confidence. But yeah, I think you have to, if you're going to seriously consider building a brand, you have to kind of get over yourself a little bit and just think, look, it's about more than me. It's about the business that I'm wanting to create. It's about all the people I want to help that's going to benefit from my service.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good way to look at it. And I think for a lot of people, certainly in the dog profession, I'd say like I don't even know what the percentage split would be, but it feels like there's a high proportion that would do it as a bit of a side hustle initially, a bit of like a hobby job. And then we go, oh, okay, maybe I'm going to try this thing then. But I think the mentality switch from it being a hobby business into being an actual business is really difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah, I can see that. And again, we get lots of different kind of hobby businesses. And often it's judgments in people's own mind that their audience, that the general public aren't putting on them. So again, it's overcoming that. I find sometimes journaling through that, why am I feeling this way? Again, it can be powerful in developing your brand, because often it comes from insecurities, and it's like, well, why am I feeling that way? And it's just figuring it all out. But yeah, it's just that inner kind of confidence. I think when you really establish the value that you're going to create for customers, or the benefits to them, it helps you in your mind think, because often you perhaps start a hobby business think, I like doing this. And you don't necessarily think of it from the other way round. Actually, Mrs. X is really going to benefit from this because of this and this and this. And you're like, actually, that gives me more confidence. Asking for testimonials, I find really, really powerful. And again, people sometimes are a little bit afraid to ask. And it is an uncomfortable question, because you're always afraid that they'll be like, no, you're awful. But rarely people say that, especially if they're repeat. You kind of get a bit of a feel if they don't like you from the start, and they often won't reorder your services or products. But just putting yourself out there saying, would you mind, just like doing a few comments or a Facebook review or Google review? And then that builds your confidence again and again. And even better, if you can get a video testimonial, because case studies, video testimonials, they're so powerful in building your own confidence, but then telling everyone else what you're good at. And that's often I'm asked this question about what's the main difference between PR and marketing. Marketing, I find, is you telling other people that you're good. PR is other people telling them that you're good. So that's where the testimonials and obviously press releases, loads of other services that you can do, can really add that extra impact.
I like it. I was going to say, actually, could you break down then what PR would look like for business owners?
Yeah. So if we do kind of a general overview of what it means, because again, it's one of the podcasts I started was to try and explain kind of what it means a little bit more, because even in the marketing industry, and since the digital kind of revolution, we'll call it, PR has become a little bit of a blur, into marketing, just like marketing's blurred into PR a little bit. But it's essentially about building relationships. And it's something we do every day. But then suddenly, as it's got a business kind of name or an acronym, people are like, I can't do that. But we do it as humans. We're programmed to do it. And it's about the perceptions that the public or your target audience or any form of people have in their mind when you say their business name. It's kind of what people are saying when you're not in the room. So it's so important that you get it right and people are thinking what you want them to think. In terms of actual PR activity, now this is where there's a bit of a blur between marketing and what it is. So press releases, articles in the media, getting on TV, on radio, writing a book, award entries, podcasting. This is PR. What else? Videos. So many different things of kind of getting events, speaking at events, getting your brand out there. So if you look at kind of the creation of the content, say you have written a lovely article and it's really strong and powerful and it can be used in the media, the writing of the article and putting that on your own website, that's kind of almost the marketing side, I would say. The amplification of that so that other people are then using it and sharing that you're brilliant is the PR side. So if that article then gets printed in a local newspaper or a trade publication on someone else's blog, or you get asked to do a podcast off the back of it to talk about it, that it's kind of when other people start sharing it and amplifying your message, I see that as kind of the main PR function kicking in. It's storytelling, essentially. And one thing that really compels people to work with you is emotion, and stories are fantastic at creating emotion. So and the best stories are ones that are true, genuine, real human stories.
Yeah, and stories connect us every day, don't they?
Totally.
When you just speak to somebody on a train or in a cafe or in a bar, like it's stories, you know? And I think that we forget that when we're talking to the masses, potentially. We think we've got to talk to everyone, and actually if we just talk to one person, and I really want to lean in a bit on that storytelling if we can, because I do think it's one of the hardest.
It's our podcast.
Well, no, I know. I was just being nice and polite. It's one of the things, don't you think, that people just really struggle with, is that storytelling element of it. We feel like we have to go into this like professional role and be the educator and all this kind of like expectation stuff. And it's like, just be you. And it's really easy for us to say like, just be you. And I know that's not as easy as it actually sounds.
Yeah, and an example of that is when I set up my business when I was a lot younger, and it was in the day still when people wore suits, and certainly you wouldn't wear jeans even. It would be really frowned upon if you went to a business meeting in jeans. And I didn't feel like I could truly be myself, to be honest. I named the business after my 2 dogs, and people would sometimes say, that's a bit silly, and I'd just be like, well, okay. And I steered away from promoting the dogs as part of the literature. They weren't on the website or anything like that in the early days. And it didn't feel right. I was still running a business. I was still growing a business. And it wasn't till probably 3 or 4 years into it, I just thought, you know what, I don't care if you think dogs are silly name for a business. I don't care if you think my website looks like a pet shop if they've got the dogs on, which is some feedback that lovely people delivered. This is me, and my dogs are really important to my business brand, so they're going to be front and centre. And since doing that, it just, again, running a business is never easy, so I don't want that to come across, but things just felt more effortless in terms of the brand, in terms of sharing story. You have to be true to yourself. I think the landscape now allows more freedom to do that. And that's one thing I love about your podcast. You are just you, and people can really tell. People can tell if things aren't genuine, and instantly there's a mismatch between the subconscious and what the conscious brain's telling them, and that is not good for trust. And trust is a critical element if you're looking to build a strong brand. Trust and credibility. And PR really helps that. We always say that people can't do business with you if they don't know about you or your brand, but they won't do business with you if you have no trust. You could have all the billboards in the world, but if something just doesn't feel right between the message you're delivering, then there's a problem. And this is where we come into the world of AI. And, obviously it stands for artificial. And people are just churning out lots of artificial content that just doesn't feel right to human. Robot to robot, it might be doing great online. But one thing that we're getting some of our customers saying at the minute is, I've been creating this fabulous image online with all this brilliant language, brilliant articles, brilliant imagery even. I'm afraid to go in real life now, because it won't match. And how weird is that as humans? It's crazy.
Yeah. This is something that when we first did the very first episode of this podcast, we were coming up in the car and we were like, how should we be? Like, how should we present ourselves? Like, how should we come across?
Should we swear?
Yeah. Should we swear? Should we, talk eloquently? Like, I'm not sure that was the word, but when you just kind of think, how should it be?
Yeah.
How professional should it be? And like, professional is like blurred in itself, really, isn't it? Because I feel like we're professional, but kind of unprofessional at the same time.
All in the same category.
All in the same, like wrapped up in one, really. But we were like, well, can't we just be us? Because that's what we know best and that's what we do best. And actually the podcast, like the clients that come in and work with us say how we've got nothing that surprises them. Like, they pretty much know everything about us. They are not shocked in any way. They know what to expect. They know that they feel like they can trust us before they've even met us on a Zoom screen or in real life or whatever. And that is something we really pride ourselves on, and something we try and coach other people on as well, and say it does you so well to be able to just kind of connect the dots and make it seamless for the customer.
Totally. I really believe that as well. And when I walked in, I felt like I knew you, and you were true to who I'd heard on the podcast as well. Again, if you were in suits, I'd be like, oh, what's this? But one thing I will add to that is about your target audience, and your target audience's expectations of what they want to who they want to be delivering services or buying products from, because there can sometimes be a mismatch. An example, now this is going back probably about 10 years ago, I'd like to think it's a bit different now. We had a colleague of mine went to a meeting at a solicitor's firm, and she took her jacket off and she had some tattoos on her arm. Now, I had a call from one of the lead solicitors later that afternoon saying how inappropriate it was.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. But
I've got a long sleeve on today.
Quick, cover my sleeve up.
I don't have a problem with tattoos or employing anyone, but then you have to think about your target audience's expectations. Now, this was quite an old-fashioned legal firm, and, you know, really, if that was our audience, I should have maybe considered that a little bit more. Well, there's two streams of thinking. You know, do you kind of, if you want to fit into their world, you have to adapt. If you want them to fit into yours and you're not bothered about losing them, then that's totally fine as well. But it's just, and again, there's a big issue at the minute about dressing how you want for work. And I say to my team, really, I don't care what you're wearing so long as you get the job done and you do it to a fantastic quality. But then I also say that when we're going out, whether we like it or not, people are going to make judgments about us. And I think be true to yourself, be who you are, but just understand that there will be that. You know, and if you're good with that, brilliant. But if say you're someone who just loves being really casual, working in your pajamas all day, you know, entering into a business that targets professional services probably isn't going to be right for you.
Yeah, I love that point though, because, and I think this is where your personal brand has to really shine through and going, okay, so if, you know, just use that dress sense and tattoos as the example then, because if you're going to really own that as like one of maybe your personal values and have that as a business value shine through as well, I think it's really important to put that out there, like show yourself. And I think this is where sometimes there can be that mismatch between who you're targeting. And I'm trying to get into the head of my original self as a dog trainer now, because I've come from a background of corporate where I was in the suits, and I found a picture the other day. I'll have to show it to you. I was in like my grey blazer, my grey suit jacket with a little pinafore dress on.
Wow.
I know. Can't imagine it, can you now? No. But it was that thing of actually like, oh, that's what you did. That was how you were deemed professional and stuff. So when I went into dog training, then I'm like, oh, I feel really almost like a slob because I'd gone into jeans
leggings and fleece,
and I was like,
uniform.
Yeah, and I was like, this just, it felt so strange because I was so used to dressing a certain way for like, I mean, and when you look at your hours of your work week, it's a high proportion, isn't it? Well, mine was a ridiculous amount. So going into that dog training world and then liaising with my new clientele, which were effectively just general people outside of work, or they were in work. But again, it was that, well, you've got a perception of how I should be. And actually, in some respect, I possibly came across a little bit too corporate. Instead of going, actually, I'm a real person and you're a real person that also has a dog, and it's a much more relaxed setting than it is from the corporate side of it.
Totally.
So going into that and just identifying, oh, wait, hold on, like you are a human being. I'm a human being also that also has a dog. You have a dog. I have a skill set that can help, and just own it. And actually, I think as dog professionals, we are scared to own our true selves still. And actually, I don't know if we've done a specific podcast on it yet, but we will do in this industry, bloody industry. I'm going to be as bold as to say, for a lot of us, certainly in the Force Free community, we are effectively marketing ourselves to our peers, our competitors, than we are to our ideal audience.
That's not unique to your industry either.
I didn't think it was.
Happens so much. And we have to say to some, it's always good to keep an eye on your competitors, but it's also very good to be unique. We quite often hear in the part of the brief we get from clients is, this is what our competitors are doing, make us them. And we're just like, And of course we can do that. It's easy for us because there's a formula there, but it's not fun for us. We don't like it because part of PR, part of any element of building a brand is creativity. It's such a noisy world out there. There's so much content constantly being thrown at us in all forms, visual, auditory, written, and you have to stand out and you have to think a little bit differently. One of our key values is challenge normal, because you have to stand out. So I would almost say, definitely research what your competitors are doing, but try and do things differently. Again, don't do things differently just for the sake of it that feels unnatural to you. It has to be part of your nature, because you can still create a wonderful business and do something very similar in terms of marketing to a competitor. But yeah, it doesn't feel good to me to do that in terms of my agency. And I bet that for a lot of people, you'd rather be unique and creating your own kind of differences. And being bold enough to stand out is something that's quite important these days. And I think people aren't bold enough, again, because of those other negative voices. But you just sometimes have to rise above it. Have a go.
What, if any, strategies have you got to help somebody try and rise above it? So let's say someone comes to you and they say exactly that, like, make me my competitor. And you, I mean, would you just go, yeah, I can do that, and maybe give them some suggestions of what they could do differently? Or do you ask them questions? Like, how do you actually kind of, when you know there's more that person could potentially bring to the table?
Yeah, so we do always try and say, can you do things a little bit differently? It is frustrating when we just have to replicate things. And obviously they add their own unique kind of business language sometimes. But that's where we kind of come in. We say, look, we can make you different. We can make you stand out. You can have all the basic fundamentals of that, but we need to get you noticed, particularly by the media. So we kind of come up with ideas. Now, a lot of the initial process is a lot of questions. Finding out as much as possible about them, their story behind the business, how they've come to set it up, then about the business, other people within the business, even down to kind of any unique hobbies that anyone has, because often there's a feature out at the minute asking business owners if they have any unique hobbies. So again, we can get them an article in there, it shares people about what they do. It builds that rapport, because people, it's classic saying, people do business with people, human to human, you know, forget B2B, B2C, it's human to human, it's the person. So getting to know someone, if they say, oh, they love paddle tennis, I love paddle tennis, I want to work with them. Strangely enough, I've never had more inquiries from people who have border terriers. When they saw that I was a border terrier business, they called me up and say, I've got a border terrier too. I was like, oh, brilliant. Can we work together? And I was like, well, you don't even know if I'm good. And they're like, well, you're a border terrier owner.
You've got to be trustworthy.
Yeah, or a dog owner. Yeah. So asking as many questions as possible. And then it's our job as kind of creatives to think of different ideas that helps them stand out. But I couldn't just reel off different ones without knowing their personalities, without knowing their business, without knowing their values, because then that's where we try and make it different. And sometimes we borrow ideas from different industries, but apply that to an industry where it's unique. But again, you build up lots of kind of different ideas from doing things, from trying things over the years. But you do still have to keep on your toes and be creative and think new things and not just use ChatGPT.
Yeah. It's I love Chatty is how we refer to him.
Oh, okay.
I'm quite jealous of this relationship.
Right.
I still always need to tell this story. I should have saved that voice note. It was like
what played it on here?
Yeah, it was such a random thing. She'd sent me a voice note and was just like, Jo, I just have to say, I'm not sure how I feel about your relationship with Chatty. I'm a little bit jealous. It's just
there's all these conversations going on. I don't know how to use it really. She does all this stuff, and I'm like, I feel really left out.
Yeah. I use it as like a thinking partner. It's like, right, yeah. I'll brain dump my stuff, and it's like, right, what do you think? And then I'll literally write like, no, that's shit. That's awful.
Yeah, definitely has a place. Yeah. Definitely does in building a brand and building a business, but you can't. Well, I was at a conference in September, and it's arguing that you could develop thoughtlessness. Now, you could say that some people have this already, but literally our brains will forget how to think for ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And they talked about how we now go to the gym because our lives aren't as manual thanks to machines. We will literally have to go to mind gyms. And I'm not just thinking like a quick crossword, literally like thinking emotionally and doing that. Can you imagine carving out time? Right, I'm going to go and do some emotional thinking right now and plan it, because the rest of the time I'm just sat there.
Yeah.
It's madness.
Everything's done for you. And then driverless cars. Yeah. And even when sat-navs came out, right, this is how old I am, but when sat-navs came out, I was like, we don't have to look at landmarks anymore. We don't have to think about where we are. Mm-hmm. And then we don't have a sat-nav, it breaks or we've got no signal. And we're like, oh, we're completely lost now. Yeah. And even just that small example is a big thing.
Totally. Well, yeah, you lose neural networks. It's been proven. And apparently they're declining all the time because of technology and what it's taking over. And I'm sure new ones develop as well. But I see creativity like a muscle. And I do believe some people are more naturally creative than others. But you have to use it and you have to work on it. And there's all sorts of fabulous things that you could do in terms of mind mapping, colouring in, going out for a walk, walking different routes just on your lunch break apparently helps you feel more creative when you come back. So, it's getting our customers to explore those opportunities as well. And quite often we'll hold sessions, not necessarily in a boardroom, because again, they're sometimes not the most creative places in the world, but going on walks, doing kind of activities. But often, ideas just come out in the shower or in the middle of the night.
Dog walks. Always,
dog walks, definitely.
I have the best ideas. Or, in the middle of the night.
Mine's
Quick notes on your phone.
Mine's when I know I can't do anything.
Yes.
Like that pressure. Like I'll be like, if I'm putting the kids to bed and I'm lying there and I'm like, go to sleep because now my brain is just going, I need to get all this stuff out. But actually, whilst you guys were thinking there, talking there even, I think this is actually where dog trainers actually anybody in the dog profession, like you've got such a unique opportunity. And this is where I think we get a little bit frustrated in the thought process of always having to be, or seemingly always being like, I need to build passive income. I need to get online. I need to do this. And like, you are in a profession that as AI continues to grow and develop, and let's face it, it is going to be a bit Terminator at one point. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Bit of John Connor coming out. But if you've got that ability to connect human to human and get out and about and still really create these, like, it's almost like just a base level relationship, isn't it? But I think we've undervalued that so much.
Totally. It's so important. And especially, because as well, there's an argument that robots will eventually be able to do a lot of physical jobs as well. But how will a dog relate to that? Again, because it's that human to canine relationship, which I think is so important and so powerful. I think they'll be able to see through all these robots and just be like, no,
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely fascinating. And I think this is where we do have this opportunity now as business owners within the dog profession to lean on these skills like in PR and get that know, like and trust factor out. And I think this is where this might sound really harsh to say it out loud, but I'm going to say it anyway because you know us by now. Go now.
I have no idea what's going to come out.
I'm
we'll
excited.
See. We'll see what happens. But I'm using a very broad we term here. So we in the dog profession make these big, bold claims that dog owners should know better. We need to be teaching them the ways of force-free, positive reinforcement. Poo on you guys who don't use those methods and use more aversive tools. And we get quite irate about it. However, if we're not brave enough to put ourselves out there and just go, well, hold on, instead of maybe doing all this shitting on other people bit and actually get you to know me, like I'm a person, this is how I fell into it, this is my story, and do that connectability. We've got to be brave enough to stand, put ourselves outside that parapet, so to speak, and go, well, this is me. I don't need to do it in a horrible way. I just need to go, this is how I train my dog. This is how I train clients' dogs. It's not all about case study after case study, although they are important. But put those things in, like when you were saying paddle tennis, I'm just thinking this one is going like, me, I love paddle tennis. But all of that stuff, it's that humanness, it's that connectability again. And we've got to be like, if we really want to see the world change in people's relationships with their dogs and that education piece really shine through, and we talk a lot about trying to regulate this industry, then the only way we're going to do it is by putting ourselves out there.
Yeah, I agree. Vulnerability is so important. And I think people are sometimes a bit afraid because I don't think it's humanly possible to know absolutely everything about every industry. I certainly don't, because AI is changing it so much. Digital technology is changing it all the time, but I know a hell of a lot. And I think if people just say, this is, like you said, this is what I know, this is what's true to me, this is who I've helped so far. And again, getting other people to tell your story, I think that shines through. Say, and then sometimes not being afraid to say, oh, actually, in your industry, and maybe you can work with all different breeds, but I don't have much experience with that breed, and they might be like, well, that's fine, I've seen you work with other dogs, I would like you to try. But just being open and honest and not fearing failure. Again, I think that's another very British trait, that we hate failure. If you look at the Americans, they almost love it, embrace it, learn from it, but we're just sometimes too scared to say, oh, I don't know if I do that bit. But yeah, I think there's a theme of like confidence in yourself, coming out there.
And people love it when you hold your hands up and say, we've made mistakes. Like we've just done a massive kind of hold our hands up recently and gone like, this was what we thought we were doing for the best, but actually we've realised it isn't. So we can't change it. Like we did it and we did it with the best intention, but we're now going on a new like trajectory, and that's okay because we're human beings.
Totally.
And we never meant to hurt anybody or never meant to make a big thing of it. And the same with your dog. Like if you are a dog trainer, for example, and you've made mistakes with your own dogs, tell people that you've done that. Like tell people that I felt like I failed at that point, but actually what I did was learn from that. And now I know how to teach other people how to do that and overcome those struggles and stuff like that, because people will just completely connect with that.
Yeah, because it's relatable. We all make mistakes. We all have to apologize sometimes. If anything, and I totally agree, there's a massive trend almost in apologizing on social media now. And some of it I think is inauthentic. You know, it's almost they've seen the power of the apology. And so now they're just like, they'll put an offer out there, then they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, the offer was wrong. Or,
and I know what you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, the power of just a humble apology, so important, just being human. Yeah, we're all human. We all make mistakes.
Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it? Like just the power of that personal brand and how you can actually just, and actually this could be a good question. We'll see what you think. So depending on what size of business you are, and maybe depending on what your business goals are as well, because I think certainly for our listeners, there's going to be people at different stages. We're going to have people that are potentially just starting out. Maybe we're not generating that 50K turnover regularly enough. Maybe we're not generating 30K. And then we've got those that are potentially in the multi-six figure as well, or just creeping into that bracket. So everyone's going to have a different goal, I suppose, for their business and what they want. How important is PR at all of those different levels? It's a very broad question.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's so important at every level. I mean, I'm bound to say that, but I'd say even more so when you're just starting out, because it's setting the foundation for who you are. And it doesn't always have to cost a fortune. You know, people just, it does have a bad reputation in itself for that, because people think, oh, PR is going to cost a fortune. I need to do like multiple campaigns, monthly retainers. It doesn't have to be. There's also a lot of things that you can do yourself. Firstly, you know yourself, you know your brand more than anyone. You know, take the time, write it down. Think having a solid plan in place is really important. And by plan, you know, really do your research. Who is your target audience? Who's your ideal customer? And we encourage our customers to really dig into detail here. Give it a name as well. Create kind of profiles, demographics. Our ideal target audience, target person is Lucy. She's a marketing manager. She's in perhaps about 35. She owns a dog, which you'd be pleased to know. But where they shop. And you might think, well, again, there's too much detail. But when you're very clear in your mind of who you're looking to attract, it's easier to find them. Because when you know that, you then think about, well, what type of media do they consume? Where do they go? What events do they go to? What books do they read? What podcasts do they listen to? And then you can figure out where you need to put your content. And then also, it's like, what language do they like to read? What kind of sentences are important to them? What are their problems? A really important one. How can I add value to their lives? How does my product or service do that? And then you develop these kind of key statements or messages that you will use when you're doing any kind of form of content. And then it's looking at what channels, what are important to the target audience. Because it could be, you know, oh, I need to be on TikTok because everyone's on TikTok. Are your audience on TikTok? Is that of value to them? And sometimes it's like, yes, they're on TikTok, but they're not using it with the business mindset that they need to be. Maybe they are, but it's asking those questions. So digging into details with that. Which channels? Is it podcasts that they really listen to? And then figuring out kind of a timing, like, you know, we kind of create Excels where it's each month and then the different channels down the side, and plan what's possible. What can you do yourself? And it might be that you're a great writer, but then perhaps you need help getting into the media, or you're perhaps not that confident speaking in public, but you're great at writing, and vice versa. So for example, if you're great at writing, creating loads of content, how can you then get support to help you then place these articles in the media? Perhaps that is a PR agency. Perhaps it's a friend, you know, where they're great at speaking, but not the other way around. So partnering up with them. There's so many things that, this is another kind of bugbear of mine in today's modern world, just picking up the telephone, you know, giving someone a call.
She's happy now.
Yes.
happy now.
You know,
I would actually do like a full running lap of joy there, but continue.
But not enough people do it. We hide behind technology. We'll send a little Instagram message or an email and then wonder why no one's got back to us, because they're receiving hundreds of thousands of emails and you're not standing out enough. Pick up the telephone. If perhaps you've got a great story, you've sent it to a journalist. Journalists receive hundreds of thousands of emails every day. Pick up the phone, do a little pitch to them, tell them why they should open your email, look out for your email, even click on it, chat them through it while they're doing it. Simple things like that. But people are afraid to do these things now because they're hiding behind technology, but even more so to do it because there's more opportunity. If you want to appear on a podcast, pick up the phone sometimes. Email's great and loads of people like email, but pick up the phone. It can create a lot of opportunities. Go to that event, go and speak to someone, Earl, get out there. It matters. If loads of people aren't doing it, there's your opportunity to do it and create kind of more opportunities for yourself.
I like her even more now.
I was thinking back to when I first qualified as a dog trainer. I was in a part of a franchise, which was a puppy training franchise. Part of the advice was go and get yourself in the local paper because you have your puppy school Redditch is opened up and you need to tell the world about it. That was it. That was all we were given, right? Yeah. So no who's my ideal client, or any of that stuff that you've just been talking about, and send them an email in. So that's what I did, right? So I'm like, hi, I've just opened up this new area of the franchise, blah, 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 I'll be targeting puppy owners. And that was kind of it. It was literally like crickets. I got no response. So I remember emailing again and again. And then I actually did ring them up and I said, did you get my email? Oh, yeah, maybe. It's probably just buried in the emails. We'll get to it. And that was it. And that's all I did. And then I thought, well, PR doesn't work. Like that was my opinion of it. And that's my only kind of, apart from when we've created Canine Business Academy and we're doing all this now, I was like, I just thought, well, I'm a dog trainer. Nobody wants to know. Nobody's interested. It's not story worthy enough. But I had no guidance on what I should include in that article, how I should write it, that there should have been some stuff about me and my life and my personal, stuff. Nothing like that. And of course it got completely dismissed. Of course it did. And there were hundreds of other emails in that inbox.
Happens all the time. So many people, but if I'm out and about, PR doesn't work for me. Sent them an email, didn't reply, got nowhere. And should I share a few tips for press releases or articles if you want to get noticed? So one of them, obviously you have to have quite a strong story and quite a unique story as well. There's always a way to make it unique because we're unique as humans. So think about what you do things differently. So really strong headline, try and make it stand out. It's about who, what, why, when, where. It's not a novel, and it has to be short and punchy. So many people think it has to be, an article's different. That can be written a little bit more beautifully. Press releases, very formative. It's quite formulaic, actually, the structure of it. It's almost like you need to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it differently. That's kind of like answering those kind of 5 questions, the who, what, why, when, how, not necessarily in that order. Find an order that works for you in the first kind of 5 paragraphs, short paragraphs. And then it's a little bit, some quotes, generally about you as the business owner. And this is where you can add kind of a little bit more of your story, your why it's unique. If possible, if you've got already some customers, perhaps a quote from a customer, such and such is using our services already. I found this brilliant. I love the unique take on that. Powerful headline, as I've mentioned, quote, lovely quote that adds that personability. One of the most important things is the press shot. So don't just do a head and shoulder shot of yourself. And don't just not send one because you're too scared to get your photo taken. Try and create a photo that tells the story. And what a brilliant opportunity if it's a dog business, because dogs are cute. And, the newspaper, the media, they love children and animals. It does make everything a lot difficult trying to capture the photograph. But again, you can rely on friends, family. There's nearly always someone who's really good with a camera that I would always recommend a professional if the budget allows it, because they know exactly what the media are looking for. But create that stunning press shot. That's when I launched my business. We got so much more coverage because it was quite unique. For firstly at the time, a young woman to be setting up a business, but I had my 2 border terriers in each of my arms. I still remember, I've got it framed in my office, that first press shot that we did. And they were sat on my knee, Harvey on one side, Hugo on the other side. And it got so much more coverage just because there were dogs in it. So use that to your advantage. When you're sending it, try and link a picture. If the picture's really high res, try and link a picture to somewhere they can download the image, because otherwise it can get blocked by the spam filters in the journalist's inbox. Put the headline in the title box, and try and make the headline, it has to be a bit quirky, but also tell the story, essentially. And then I would always recommend you call first, and you literally say, I've just launched this business. It's unique because of this. You also have to qualify, especially with the local media. I know the power of local media is immense. And it's not just people think, oh, no one reads local print and newspapers. It's not just the print, it's online, it's their social channels. And actually, I think printed media is going to make a massive comeback with AI, because they know it's trusted and credible. Yeah. So don't rule it out, but it has to be local. It has to have relevance to that local area. And it can't just be because you want to expand in that area. You can't just call all the London media, say, I'm going to be opening soon. Unless you physically are opening physical building, or you've got physical clients down there, you're putting on a big event, has to be relevant to the local area. So say your name, what you're doing, why it's unique, and that you're from that local area. If while they're on the phone, they can find and locate that email, even better, open it so you know they've got it, check they've got the image. And then they're so busy, and also it's got to fit in their agenda. And there could be breaking news that day. We've had stories that were planned for front page, or planned kind of BBC reporters coming out, and then something's broken the news, usually political. Great. And then the story is kind of pushed back a bit. Don't give up. You've got to be relentless in PR. Keep calling.
Right. So you would literally just keep going and push it.
I would, until they say, please stop. I'm going to get the police involved now.
Get the fuck off and die. Yeah.
It's our favourite saying. Not our favourite saying, but yeah.
But also keep a lookout in the media for it, because they will get quite cross if they're like, well, I used it. You're not clearly looking for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you know, that's a good shout.
To
check.
Yeah.
What about if you are a bit more of an established business then? So you're not launching, it's not a news story in that sense.
Yeah, it's still critical. And again, you might argue I'm bound to say that, but there's always going to be people that don't know about you, and you've got to keep building that reputation. And the people that do know about you, it's about protecting that reputation as well. It comes a whole other strategy of protection as well as keeping establishing. But also, as businesses grow and change, they also might change the perceptions that they want to create around themselves. But again, as humans, we're naturally quite forgetful. It's such a, again, fast-paced world, so much going on in it. We do need constantly reminding of people. And again, a great thing that you want PR to do, and it should do well if it's all working, is that if someone says, do you know a dog training business? It's kind of first to come in their mind. Yeah. Or there's something very memorable about it. So what worked really well with me and the dogs in PR, it's quite unusual to have a business named after dogs. And it did get a little bit of negativity around that, but it was very memorable. I became the lady with the dogs, which wasn't the exact reputation I was going after, but it worked. And even if they couldn't remember the name instantly, they're like, oh, the lady with dogs, oh yeah. And then they figure out the dogs' names or different names, but they found me eventually. So, you need to keep reminding people. It's, again, a human trait. Maybe if we were all robots, you wouldn't have to do that so much, but we're human. So you have to keep reminding people. And there's competitors on the scene as well. And it's about reminding them why you're different, why they should use you above them, and sharing the stories that create the emotion and the reasons why to use you. And case study stories are another great story. When you're established, you're grown, you need to keep reinforcing why you create value for your customers and how you do it. And your customers telling that story is the best way. And it could be the fact that they create a series of video testimonials. If some of the video testimonials are really powerful, they can be turned into press releases and sent to the media. For example, one of our clients, our PR campaigns help them grow, help them turn over an extra £1 million. That could be a story. So just thinking all the time, how can you use the benefits of use kind of the power of your customers? Definitely would say that as kind of a key message.
Yeah. Should we tell the story of our little PR experience?
We can do.
Come on, then.
Oh, no, you tell it, because it was all about you, really.
Well, I was going to say, our experience I can't remember what it was. It was around the book launch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the book launch. We got a PR package.
Cool.
Yeah.
The book launch.
And it was a bit of a strange experience, really, wasn't it?
We weren't really told a lot, right? So we are launched into this Zoom speed dating type scenario.
Very bizarre. So, I've got a tiny bit of experience with PR because of my background I was marketing agency.
Cool.
So I had a little bit, but you were pretty much like
no idea,
zero clue. But again, like Vicky just said, we weren't given any guidance on this stuff. It's just like, right, so we're going to try and get you in the press. You're going to go on a Zoom room, and it was exactly that. It's like speed dating with journalists from various press titles, and you had a set amount of time. I can't remember how long it was now, like 20 minutes or something. It wasn't very long.
No, I think it was more like 10, wasn't it?
Yeah, like literally, like, right, get on. And then to be like, oh, Charlotte, you're one of the press people. It's like, oh, hi, I'm Joe, this is Vicky. What do you need to know? It's like, oh, just tell us a little bit about, and we're like, so we started saying like, oh, well, we were dog training. And they're like, right, dog training business. And we're like, no, we're not a dog training business. We're business coaching for dog trainers. So how long have you been a dog trainer for? And I was like, I feel like you're totally. And then we was just like next. And we're like, oh my God, what's happening here?
Shoehorned it back, but yeah.
And then someone else kind of like took the angle that they loved that I was a home educator.
Okay.
So then that was like, that's going to get in the press. That's going to really work. And we're like, well, yes, I can see how that would really work. Yeah. But how's that going to help us when we want it to be about Canine Business Academy? And then it was like, oh, and we have this like deliberation moment, didn't we? Of going like, oh, is it going to do its job of getting awareness? Yes. But then I think you felt really shit at the time, didn't you? Because we didn't really know what to expect. And Vicky was I was feeling shit that they'd essentially made it all about me, which wasn't what we wanted. But trying to do that detachment thing of, is it right for the business though? Totally. Could it work? And then you were going, but it's all about you. What's the point in me being here? All of this, like, because you're hurt. It's like, oh, this is our thing that we've built. And then, what was it? I can't even remember what papers wanted to run with it.
It was
now.
The Sun, wasn't it?
The Sun and the Daily Mirror and Daily Mail. So like some big titles.
Yeah.
And then it just never turned into anything anyway. And we was like, oh,
all of that
deliberation
for no reason.
Yeah, a lot of people do have negative experiences, unfortunately, and sometimes they come to us quite damaged, and we're almost their last chance. We hear it all the time. Like, we've worked with this agency, they did nothing for us. You know, we really need you to help, and it does nothing for us because they're quite, I don't know, their backs are up a bit when they come to see us, and we have to almost develop little trial packages to ease them in, and we eventually kind of persuade them that actually, when it's done right, it can be really beneficial. Managing expectations is a key phrase that you need to do before starting any PR campaign, you know, because so quite often people say to us, we've got this story, and obviously they think it's the most amazing story in the world, and the business the most unique business in the world as well, and sometimes it is, but quite often it's not, and we have to manage those expectations without hurting feelings because it's still something very close to their heart. But if we're telling them, yeah, it's brilliant, and they often say we want to be on the red sofa on BBC Breakfast, and if we're saying, yeah, no problem, we'll get you on that, which some agencies do, it's just setting them up for a fall, and then it's going to damage the reputation of the industry and what they expect PR is. So we always say, start small, start local, start building your brand small and local and grow out from there. Not only does it give you the confidence and you start to know the industry and develop your messaging, it then can grow from there. And there's absolutely no reason why you can't end up there. And don't get me wrong, we have had some clients that go straight to the top, but they've got everything right. It's you know, knowing it's a shame you weren't prepared for those Zoom sessions, because if you knew exactly the key phrases to use, it could have been a very different outcome, because the media are very clever. They've got a job to do. They've got pressure on themselves as well, immense pressure to sell media to get the clicks. So they're going to tease out whatever information they want to and spin it into something totally different that suits their agenda. And that's another thing you've got to realise when you're working with the media or in PR. You've obviously got your clear goals and objectives. And I say that because sometimes you don't, and that's even more dangerous. Then you're dealing with the media who have their own, as well as then satisfying their target audiences. They have to read something that's interesting. And then there's your clients who's then going to be reading it at the end of it. And like you said, like sometimes what they actually read can be so far away from what you were actually looking to achieve. And this is a massive problem I have with the online world at the minute. A lot of people are creating content for clicks or just for reads, sensationalized content. But is it actually in line with their purpose? Is it actually, and quite often they'll be like, oh, look at this post, it got 100 million impressions, aren't we brilliant? And it's like, well, no, because if people reading that article now think negatively about your business, no, I'd rather have 10 people that read it and now think positively about it in the right place, that your exact target audience, and they're going to pick up the phone or drop you an email saying they want your services.
Yeah. One of the journalists was trying to get us to do a dog training session with her or something. It was about, she had a puppy at the time. So she was literally honed in on the dog trainer side of it. And she's like, oh, we could do something around training this dog. And we're like, no, because that's not what we're trying to do. Like it was painful.
But if anything, that goes to show if anyone is listening and you do want to get your dog training business out there, they'll lap it up.
They'll lap it up. They literally will.
Good pun as well.
Yeah.
If it was intentional. That could be a headline.
Lap it up. There we go.
Many dog
I can't turn it off.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. And I think actually it kind of comes back to a point I was attempting to make earlier of you've got to know what you want for your business, because everything that we talk about on this podcast is all about if you've got that entrepreneurial spark, if you want to grow something meaningful to you and, have an established business. I always go to say big, but I think that can be interpreted in the wrong way. But it's whatever your version of big is. Like for us, for K9 Business Academy, it's like super big. We've got that and we know what we want to achieve within that business. Whereas the dog training business, we were like, our version of big for that was let's get these two local areas together to go, oh, actually, we want to go to Joe and Vicky dog training. Is that your stomach?
Yes. It's been doing it all the way through. I'm surprised Ryan's not said anything.
I'm going to call it out because mine's about to do the same thing. But for our dog training business, we were like, all we wanted was, and I think this is the hard thing. We've got it in our heads as business owners that you need so many inquiries coming in. You need to have like everybody, when you don't. You just need a few people to buy from you.
Oh, it's so true. And there's so many, Instagram accounts out there saying if you're not scaling, you're failing. And I bought into that for a while. And I just literally thought I had to be growing and growing, and I was just exhausting myself and burning out all the time. And it was like having a family that made me realize exactly what I wanted, because we talk about the purpose of the business and what you want that business to achieve, but also what actually comes first is your personal purpose. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to feel like at the end of the day? What's important to you? What are your kind of priorities in life? And I think that's so important to know, because then you shape the business around you. There's been so many times where I've been caught on that treadmill just thinking, what am I doing this for? I'm unhappy, And yes, sometimes you could be making great money doing that, but if it doesn't tick all the boxes that make you feel right in your heart, then you need to reassess things. And I think there's a stigma around the word lifestyle business because of social media, and you've got to be going for those millions and scaling. And I think I've got quite comfortable now that I've got a lifestyle business, and it actually feels really nice and it's fulfilling me and it's creating a lifestyle that I want. And I think that's so important. And again, you have to kind of look within for that and try and not shut off the external noise around what you want to do. And if you want a local business, brilliant. That's great. And just be proud about that.
Yeah. It's trusting yourself more, isn't it? And I think certainly going into the business realm, there is this perception that, you've got to be chasing those big figures and everything. It's like, well, yes, if you want to, and if you don't, that's also fine. Yeah. But you can still be a business owner. And if you want to be a business owner that is ticking along at 50K a year, I say 50K. We did a podcast episode recently, didn't we?
It's noisy again.
We did a podcast episode recently of I think I'd done some research, and it was about realistically in this day and age, like 50K as a salary is a comfortable salary. I wouldn't even say it's like frivolous anymore, and that's just being pay your bills and just about be able to go on holiday if you want to and things like that. So, but if that's the kind of business that you're aiming for, then okay, how many clients do you need to see to be able to generate that 50K? How many inquiries are you getting in? Who do you need to be talking to? All of that ideal client stuff, and then your purpose of how are you going to plan that around your life? That is still having the same set of business skills as it is if you've got a multi-six-figure business. Absolutely. I would say that in the north, 50K gets you a little bit further, which is a great thing about being in the north, but it's same applies. And also sometimes when I was running a bigger business, the profitability level was sometimes the same. And obviously you're trading that off because you're scaling and you're investing and you hope that payoff will come. But sometimes you can run a smaller business that fits in with your lifestyle a bit better and it's just as profitable. I think people forget that.
And it's making your life easier by having a smaller business sometimes. Like we see it quite a lot where people are employing either other dog trainers or other dog professionals under them to do some of the work and grow and scale, and then they're ending up like not making any profit. They're ending up having loads more stress. They're not actually happy. They're not achieving the purpose. They've gone completely off track of what they've started as anyway. And then we're like, so why are you doing it then? I don't actually know. Like, I probably would be happier just me doing it, or at least one other person doing it with me, and that's it.
And you lose your love for it. The reason why you started in the first place, when you just become so worn out, and perhaps you've got stress of like managing people, that can be a really hard thing to do in business, and it can equally be a really fulfilling thing to do when you get the right people. But again, there's, you know, you almost have to learn mistakes and learn techniques in doing that. It is just interesting, because then you lose your love for it, and you think, I don't even want to do it. And it's that you forget why you started it in the first place, which is so important, because there are tough days in business, and you have to have that passion and that purpose that's woven into everything that you do. So that on tough days, you go back, like, why did I start? Oh yeah, it was to make, you know, PR accessible to all. I believe everyone deserves to be heard. Even though it's been a tough day, have I amplified someone's voice so they're now being heard and they weren't before? Yes, I have. Does that feel good to me? Yes, it actually does. So yeah, you know, try not to be so hard on yourself.
Yeah. Part of the reason we started Canine Business Academy, because there were so many people leaving the industry because they were trying the hardest with the skills they'd got around business, which like for the most part are not a lot at all. And they're leaving, and they're going, and they've got all these skills and all this knowledge, and they're just throwing it away and going and getting a proper job, in, you know, inverted commas, but what a waste.
Such a waste. And I love that. I love your purpose and mission, and it's everywhere. It's clear to see your values on your website, and you talk about them so often, and that's just lovely. You want to help people, and obviously you were doing it. You didn't need to do it. You had successful businesses, but that's what you believe in, and I believe in that as well, because it's awful. There's not enough training. It kind of goes back to the education conversation. Like, there's not enough training about actually running a business, and, you know, money management, that side, managing people, all critical skills, whether you're running a business or not. And it's a shame, because actually have you read the book, The E-Myth?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a classic book where, you know, you love doing something, you start doing it, you do it well, and you start making money because you're really good at it. But then it gets so big that you almost not doing what you love in the first place, and you're then having to run a business, and you don't like that, and you've got no experience of that, and it takes you away, and then you start having problems, and then you go back to the start, and it's just a journey. And I just think investing in, you know, books like you've created, listening to podcasts like you've created, it's such a fantastic resource to people who are running a business, doing what they love, and they want to maximize that. Another thing is, it's such a lonely place, and I think you give that validation and someone that people can relate to, which I think is so powerful, because when you're having a tough day and there's no one to go to, no one that understands what it's really like running a business, and running a business in that industry as well, because every industry, for all it's kind of same generalist, there's unique quirks to it and unique difficulties. So good for you. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, you can come back.
You've stroked her ego.
No, it's important though. I don't know if you hear it enough. You know, sometimes you don't hear it enough as a business owner or as a podcaster, but there'll be people out there, and you know, it's hard running a podcast. If people just think you turn up for this hour and then you have a nice chat, but there's lots of planning that goes into it, organising, booking guests, studio hire, and things like that. And if people are listening and just thinking, oh goodness, like, you've helped validate how I'm feeling, and you've given that extra kind of drive to keep going and keep using their skills, I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a good resource, isn't it? Like, we love it, and we love being able to talk to all of you guys out there that are listening. And something you said earlier about, like, knowing that you've done that thing at the end of the day, like when we get messages coming in going like, oh, that episode really resonated with me, and actually that's made my day, we're like, oh, all the feels. It's totally. It's exactly what we do.
And when people are using some of the advice that we give on the podcast, which is ad hoc, it's not like strategic, because like that's what happens when you work with us. Obviously it's different, but there are juicy nuggets that people are taking and they're going away and they're working on and they're trying to improve. Same with the book. Like when we get feedback that people are actually using that book as a workbook, scribbling notes in it and actually doing the stuff, we're like, that is exactly why we created it. Like
they're all tools, aren't they, that help support your customers and help you achieve your mission, that help them achieve their mission. And I see them as PR tool. Podcasting is an excellent PR tool, and it's just different forms of communication that suit different people as well. Some people like them all, but I think what's great about podcast is they're not only getting the information, yes, it's less formal than perhaps the book, but they're having a conversation with friends as well. And obviously we can't hear them back right now, but they might be in the car saying, oh yeah, exactly, I totally relate to that. Or they might be saying, no, I disagree with that, and comment, and then you can adapt. So yeah.
You mentioned you host 2 podcasts, don't you? Do you mind telling us a little bit about those podcasts
I'd love to.
That people could, if they want to go and find them, they can have a listen? Yeah.
Thank you. I'd love to. So the first one's called Personal Podcast, but it's without the E. So it's PR. It's a bit of a play on PR. PR is sonal, but it's personal. Personal Podcast, that's about the person behind the professional, storytelling. The rule of that podcast is you can't really talk about what you do. You certainly can't sell. It's just your personal story, the background, and everyone has a story. And sometimes they're the most beautiful, endearing, vulnerable. People have been through so much. As humans, we go through so much. And you could be sat in a boardroom opposite someone, or you could have known a colleague for years and you don't know half of what they've gone through. And I just think knowing that helps you just understand each other better. Understanding forms better relationships. Better relationships form, stronger business kind of deals and networks. And I just think it's so important that empathy. You develop empathy for other humans. Why are they always late that day? It's so annoying. I'm always on time. When you find out the real reason, or perhaps they've got a disability that they don't want anyone to know about behind the scenes.
We're so judgy, aren't we?
We are.
In this day and age?
Yeah, we are. And we judge everything based on ourselves and our unique model of the world and how things should be. And we see everything often as an attack on ourselves. And, just letting go of our egos sometimes. But a main purpose behind that podcast is to eradicate shame. I went through a series of miscarriages when I was trying for my children, and sometimes I'd struggle to articulate why I couldn't make the meeting, and I'd say, should I just have I have the cold or flu? And I was just like, why do I feel like I can't say that? So in the end, I just started being honest. Sorry, I'm literally having a miscarriage. I can't come in. And actually it was a male business owner that said, oh my goodness, we've been going through that lately. We opened up. We now have an amazing relationship in terms of business to business. And it was just through conversations. Now, I want people within the business community to be able to talk about anything if they want to. I'm not saying that everyone has to talk about everything, but if they have an issue or they have something they want to deal with, that they want people to understand, that they're able to raise it. So that's the personal podcast. We also talk about sex on it, which is quite rare in the business community. And I think, again, it's important just to, it's one of those questions that I ask just to kind of almost lower people's guard a little bit and have a little bit of fun as well. But some people find that difficult, and I understand that as well in the professional industry. So that's that one. The other one is the Pocket Size PR podcast, which is a mouthful. I don't know why I do this to myself. When I open it every time, I get my words all muddled. So that is where we speak to marketing and communications professionals about their take on PR. Again, to help people understand what it is and then how it's applied and what people do with it. Just to better educate the industry, but also actually it is a bit of a PR tool for ourselves. We invite marketing professionals that we'd ideally like to establish relationships with, or just even if we just think they're fabulous and we love them on the show anyway. But it helps build relationships. It helps people be aware of us. It helps us create that thought leadership content. Sharing content helps people develop perceptions about you, particularly if it's good, it's educational, and that you are the leader in your industry. So it all adds. So yeah, personal podcast and the Pocket Size PR podcast. Thank you for asking.
You're very welcome, guys.
All the P's.
You need to go and listen to these podcasts.
You do need to go and listen to
I
them.
will be listening to these podcasts.
Yeah,
as well.
damn straight. It's going.
thank you.
I'm hoping like Ryan's made a note so I can add them to my list later.
Well, you're very welcome to come to Darlington to be on one of them if you like.
Oh, we're in.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had me at hello.
Brilliant.
What God? I don't know. I'm glad our audience are used to this from us.
What? Just, what's
you.
the problem?
Just you.
Okay. Don't know what I've done, but okay.
There you go.
Okay. What else were you going to say? You've thrown me now. We're just
I
laughing
think
at me.
you just made me laugh with that. Yeah, I have really enjoyed this conversation today. I think it's going to be so useful for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I always feel like when we get certain guests in that we could just keep going and just have like a little mini mini series afterwards. So
this has felt so easy and like it's just having a chat. Like it always feels like that on the podcast, but also I don't know what it is today, more so today.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I've loved it too. Thank you for making me feel so comfortable.
No, it's great. So if people wanted to find out more about you other than your podcast, then where can they go to do that?
Okay, so they could go to harveyandhugo.com. So Harvey, just as it is, HARVEY, and then and written out AND, and then Hugo, HUGO.com. We're on all the kind of socials as well. Instagram's a kind of key one, Harvey and Hugo PR. I'm on LinkedIn as well. We actually do have a couple of little downloadable guides if anyone wants one. One is like a little guide on how to create your own PR plan. It's called the Pocket Size PR Plan. It's the theme. And it is just a little plan. You can always, I guess, contact you guys, or you can always contact me directly. Charlotte@harveyandhugo.com is my email address. I can send you a PDF version of it. There's also the brand protection plan, which say you've got an established reputation, again, it's that protection, crisis communications, anything like that. So if you're interested in those little tools, they might be able to help.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Do you know, when she was saying pocket size, then all I've got is your tiny little pocket-sized book you've got at home.
Oh, yeah. I had a faux pas from Amazon. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've read it.
I have.
Ordered that because I got it on Audible, loved it. And I was like, I need a hard copy.
Pictures with that one.
Need it, right? Well, no, I haven't got any pictures of mine.
Oh.
It's this big. for anyone listening, what's that? A couple of inches?
Maybe like 2 inches. Yeah.
2 to 3 inches.
Tiny.
Just never big enough, is it?
No. My little Amazon package arrived through the letterbox and I was like, well, I thought I'd ordered a book. I opened it, yeah. I should bring it here actually. I should put it on the shelf.
That would be funny.
Yeah. So I've kept that. I was going to send it back and I thought I can't. I've got to keep it.
It's too funny.
Lovely.
Yeah. That's all that comes to mind when you keep saying pocket size.
Pocket
No,
size.
It is pocket size.
Yeah, it's actually ours are a little bit bigger.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us, Charlotte. It's been incredible.
Oh, thank you so much. I've loved it. Thanks.
You're very welcome.